at NordCap, we have what is called mooting with a cause or mooting with a purpose. All our national annual events that we have hosted have been specially set up on environmental issues, and these are gray areas where we not only deliberate upon these issues, but at the end of the 2 day of utmost discussion that we have at NordCap University, we provide something, a take back to the community at large for these issues that we deal with. So I would, because we have our alumni with us, I would definitely ask them as to what is their first-hand experience of mooting at NordCap University. So Yash.
So basically, I thank you for introducing Pallavi ma'am. It's great to be back at law school after so long and speak to a bunch of students. My experience started right from the very first year, and like there were moot courts team which was formed within the college, and then we had to decide like who our moot court team members are gonna be. And later we had team coaches within the college. We had a peers, we had a seniors who were guiding us on in the experience. And then we had a bunch of faculty who were introducing us to different kind of moot courts, whether it's for environmental laws, or constitutional law, or any other kind of law. And from the very first year, we were also the part of moot court committee in the college. So we not only participated in the moot courts, but we also organized the moot courts. And I believe that was a very essential experience for us, to be inculcated in that activity, and that developed our part of the mooting. And when we were out in the field, I mean, I personally participated into international moot court competition. And but
Okay, if you could just tell us which are those international moods that you participated in.
yes, the very first moot that I participated was in third year, and it was on international commercial arbitration. And I had a very good team of two of my best friends from college, and we cleared the round within college and the national round, and then we went to international round in Jakarta. And it was international commercial arbitration. Very fascinating area of law now. A lot of people want to practice in this area. And there we met a bunch of teams from all over the world. Our horizon for learning law and interacting with people on different level. Somebody who's coming from civil law system, somebody who's coming from common law system like us, and we were all together arguing on the same area of law. So those were the kind of experience that I had in the first competition. And the second competition was also very interesting. It was on space law, and I participated in this competition. And with a team of mine, we went to Sydney to participate in this. And it was on space law, so it was like another very fascinating area of international law, which is now upcoming. Because as you know, the mankind is now venturing beyond Earth. We have NASA missions. So there were a lot of international agreements and various kind of things to ponder upon, and very interesting to develop skills for there and the real world. Back to you, ma'am.
What do you think, Madhur? What is your take on the first time?
So, well, for starters, mooting is one of the very few competitions that I believe are exclusively designed for law students around the world. That's my stance on it. I see as there is a chance for law students to put their skills that they learn in the classroom to use in a safe setting before they actually go out in a real life trial. And at the same time, they also get a glimpse into the world of litigation. Like Suya just said, that it definitely helps them get a feel of whether that particular area of law that they're studying or practicing in is right for them. I personally know a couple of my batchmates who were able to pick a niche practice area because they participated in a moot court competition and developed an interest in the subject. And at the same time, I know those who figured they weren't made for that line of practice.
Right, right. Okay, what exactly do you think? Why is this mooting so important for law schools, and why should actually students participate in it? Madhur, what is your view on this? Why is it important, and why students should participate?
It is actually one of the very essential part of a law student's life to proficiency in this field. And one must, I believe, do different kinds of mooting, as the amount of exposure it gives to students is tremendous. Plus, the knowledge and experience that they gain is also quite helpful. It surely helps them in the future when they ought to either become lawyers or judges or excel in the field. So I believe these kind of mooting activities help a student to grow as an individual and also motivate them to come up and show their skills.
True, it actually enhances their oratorship quality and the communication skills. And also, at the very time, I believe that putting the set of facts that are before them and then joining them at the same time with the laws in order to get the remedy from the judge in the favor of the client that you are representing. That art is that art is very important for an advocate. We should be able to present the picture in the view we want it to be, right? As we know, there are two sides of a story. So how are you putting your side? That is what mooting is all about, and that is why I believe that one team has to prepare both side memorials in favor and against. I will be using favor and against across this webinar because I know this webinar is focused for the students who would be joining us. So in order for them to understand better, rather than going for plaintiff, petitioner, respondent, and defendant, that is why I'm using favor and against. See, I believe every concept has a history. So yes, sure. Can you brief us on what is the history for mooting? What do you think of what is the basic evolution or the history of mooting as a concept? Can you please tell me about the history? Yeah.
Sure, ma'am. So history of mooting is very interesting, and I mean I was just reading about it yesterday, and it dates to almost 1,000 years back. And the first recorded reference of moot was somewhere in the year 997. And we are here talking about the
years we could not get. Which year?
It was in the year 997 CE, about 1,000 years back from now. So we are talking about the Anglo-Saxon period basically. And moot was then basically the meeting of prominent figures of such as noblemen from society, and used to meet regularly to discuss on matters of regional importance. So basically, the moot courts that we know today were actually common in the Inns of Court and Chancery in the 14th century England. And at that time, students not only used to learn specific subjects such as law, but they also used to learn about different subjects such as music, history, weaponry, art, literature, scripture. And moot was one amongst the many activities that used to participate in. And they also used to debate on various topics, just to be in consonance with the ongoing topic at that time. And I believe that thereafter the tradition came down, from England it passed down to the USA, where law school established this tradition, and such as the Harvard Law School established this tradition in 1870. And today, if we talk about moot courts, SF International Moot Court Competition is one of the largest and oldest moot courts. It was established in 1960. Also, in India, if you look at Surana and Surana, it's one of the biggest and oldest moot court competitions established in the 1990s. And
I also, as a student, participated in Surana and Surana moot. I went to Mumbai and I did participate in the series. I did not participate in any international, but yes. Okay.
I mean, it's not about national, international, it's just about having the experience. And I mean, systematically, moot courts have become part of our law schools now. And across the curriculum worldwide, I mean, because India is no different than other law schools worldwide. And all the law schools have adopted this practice because it is really beneficial when you go out in the real world. And you want to make a students engage in moot courts. Every law school wants to make the students engage in moot courts for the very same reason.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much for guiding us on the history. Madhur, can you tell us what do you think? How are these moot courts competitions actually conducted, and what are the basic skills which are required in a law student in order to participate for moot court competitions? Madhur.
So how a moot court conducted? It's basically ditto like a legal proceeding that takes place in a real life court right now. So in general, if I tell you, mooting aims at giving practical knowledge to the students by putting them in a hypothetical situation similar to that of a real court, and then two teams, like you just said, defendant, applicant.
And how many members are there in each team, Madhur? How many members are there?
So we require three members in each team. two speakers and one research. And so, yeah, then these two teams, each on one side, argue upon such fictional cases that are provided beforehand. And they also argue on the questions of law, which are debatable in reality, which is most of the time. So, at the same time, participants act as professionals and take up all the responsibilities and duties according to their role. The appellant, defendant, respondent, they just go alternatively for the first couple of rounds. That's how it works out.
So do you think
And
like
then we have judges.
Yeah, do you think that a fictitious courtroom is set up for the students or the participants, and then there are judges proper sitting at their place, and then there are teams in a courtroom setup? Is it a courtroom setup?
Yes. It's mostly like 90% of a courtroom setup is what a moot court is. That's why it's also called a mock court. Now,
Okay.
so judges are the ability to think creatively and answer convincingly when they are questioned in between the presentation, and they also mark the participants on the spot. So,
And what do you think are the basic skills, Madhu?
yeah,
What are the basic skills?
exactly. So talking about the skills, there are basically three major skills that are appreciated in a mooter. So oratory skills, writing, and persuasive skills. Now, I won't say that you're expected to have them beforehand. One would obviously, gain and groom these skills over the time with more and more experience. And I would also say that just because you're not good at one particular skill doesn't mean you can't go move. You have to figure out a way to get better at it. Maybe some of you are good speakers, while others are good researchers. But I think that's what makes a good team.
And what do you think is the right time to start mooting? Like going for competitions and all? Maybe Suyash, you can take this question. I don't know. I think Madhur is not audible, or I can't hear him. So what do you think is the right time for starting mooting?
I mean, there's no specific time for start mooting. You should like get into the jam as soon as you're into the law. So I believe whenever you feel you're ready, because once you're in the college, from the very first year, you start getting the idea about what is law all about. And
Right.
you also, many of the students engages in internships, they get to see real code. And
Right.
since they are not law practitioners, so they cannot practice. And many of them want to have this real life experience. And they want to get into the jam, and they want to, come out in the open, and they want to make some arguments, and they want to feel like lawyers. So, as soon as you're ready, I mean, maybe it is your first semester, maybe it's your first year, maybe it's your third year.
Right. I would definitely like to add on here because I am from North Cap University, and our alumni are also from, like, we are having the same background. At North Cap University, we have this mooting culture in the course curriculum itself as part of CRE, which is called the courtroom exercise. So from the very inception, from the very first year itself, we start giving them a first step to the ladder that they have to move on. So in that module, we make sure that every student at least tries, and then he will be able to identify whether he's a orator, or he can be a speaker or a mooter, or he can be a researcher for these competitions. And what exactly do you think, Suyash? See, the most important thing in mooting, what I can understand and what I understand, is the moot preposition, the problem that is given to the fictitious problem. So what do you think, how can students break down this research problem, or they can come up with issues? What exactly is, how to win this problem?
So breaking down a research proposition is like one of the most important part of moot courts, because that is the first essential step where you read rules and regulations. And every moot court can have different rules and regulations. For
Right.
example, and others may have their own methodology for citation. So, it really depends. And also not adhering to these rules can incur heavy penalties, uh, which will also not reflect good upon your entire presentation, I believe. So, you have to identify the type of your proposition, what exactly it is, what
So
your
there are
voice
certain
also.
guidelines which are provided by the, like, whosoever is organizing a moot. There are certain guidelines also.
example, I mean, you should know moot proposition. Like it involves environmental law, it involves constitutional law. Like for example, at NorCap universities, at the moot court competition that we have been organizing, to get the moot proposition, you need to carefully read it many times over, along with your team members.
Okay.
You should take guidance of your peers, of your moot court coaches, like NorCap University, and also from your teachers, from your professors. And you should also, take help of moot court videos which are available online, such as platforms such as YouTube and Vimeo. So those kind of things really help. And breakdown is really important, because if you're not able to analyze that what exactly the moot problem involves, what is the area of research, what is the law that you're going to work upon, then you're not going to be
Right.
going in the right direction. That is the key.
There is something which is called the written submission that we are giving, right? That is called the memorials. So
That is
how
correct.
do we actually make a best of memorial? And I know that there are prizes for the best memorial as well in the competitions. So how do you make the best memorial?
As ma'am, we've already explained that, written submissions upon which one team bases their argument is technically a memorial. So
Right.
this is the most technical and important part. And the basic key is to identify the issue in a moot proposition, like I just mentioned. Your moot proposition may have many issues, but you would want to concentrate only upon few main issues, and other sub issues will be under that main issue. Uh, for example, let me take a person here. His name is Raj, and he's not able to pay his rent. And the owner has asked him to vacate the house and has
Okay.
filed a complaint with police. So now he's gone into depression. And suppose this is the moot proposition. This is a very simple one. Just to explain the students out there. So now the issues from a legal standpoint would be that a complaint has been filed with the police. So you will basically research the relevant laws it falls under, which in this case will be the Rent Control Act, and not going into the detail, not making it complicated. But this is how you would proceed. The second most important thing would be to do rigorous research. The more case laws and relevant laws you can cite to supplement, it will be. Very well trained in a memorial, supporting your arguments. Just take the example of Raj again, like I just mentioned. You need to do very well in the provisions of Rent Control Act, and also at the same time
Right.
cite cases and coherent arguments for standpoint.
Okay.
Also, I believe the next step in a memorial would be to write summary of argument. I don't want to get into more details, but
Yes.
those are the steps of it.
Okay.
And after summary of
Okay.
arguments, you write the advanced arguments and then the prayer. That is,
Uh,
how you go about.
All right, thank you. Suyash, what do you think? Is there any formula or a winning formula? Which, because see, everywhere, if the students go and participate in these competitions, they ultimately want to get that trophy back to the home university. So, can you tell us if there is any formula or the mantra, I would say, of winning moot court competitions?
Numbers. Uh, like football or cricket. You should research and know the subject of moot proposition very well. Practice in front of your teachers in college, in front of your friends, in front of mirror to gain more confidence. Interact with your seniors, moot court coaches, and your peers and teachers. Whoever is available in front of you. You should really watch other moot court competitions, the competitions which are organized in the NorCap University itself. Then
Right.
again, like I just mentioned, videos on YouTube, Vimeo of competitions such as Jet and sort competitions.
So in a way,
Then
Suyash, you've actually told us the formula, which is hard work, dedication, and this perseverance that you need to do something. Your dedication and hard work. I think these two are these two together will give us a formula for winning moot courts or winning anything in life, I believe. Um,
that is the
Next,
key
I
to it.
believe, see, everything that we do when we get into a professional life is ultimately aimed towards our CV building or our holistic development, right? So, if Madhur and Suyash, both of you can tell us as to what does mooting also helps in CV building, and what exactly are the benefits that a mooter gets in life?
So since Madhur is not here, I'll take the lead from
Yeah, yeah.
explaining this one. So I mean, the moot court is all about knowing the practical aspects of legal system, such as the courtroom manners, time management, structuring your arguments. It also develops your analytical, legal research, and writing skills. And these are very crucial to become a successful lawyer. And these are also something that you would want to reflect on your CV, on your resume when you are approaching law firms from internship or maybe for a job after 5 years of that you've graduated. Uh, so, the moot court helps you develop the skills to think on your feet. You have to carefully listen to the opposite side lawyer's argument continuously for hours and make notes. So these are skills that moot court, really makes you inculcate in yourself, and that is something various lawyers across, not even in India but across the globe, if you're even applying for jobs in international law firms, they're looking for these kind of skills. And the most important part is about the English speaking skills, because if you have participated in moot courts such as Jessup or maybe Quran and those kind of things, I mean, the law firms and lawyers or anybody is bound to know that you have developed your English speaking skills. But even if you have not developed, then you have taken considerable steps towards developing that thing. And everybody wants to have that kind of effort, and those kind of students who have made efforts in the college. So that is really important to having on your
Right. Right. Okay. Madhur, I would just again see, because I can see you as a participant. Are you still there with us, Madhur?
Yes,
If you can.
I'm there. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible,
Sorry,
Madhur.
I lost my internet connection.
Not a problem. Madhur,
So
if you can just.
I would like to, yes, I would like to also say that I believe that while internships and clerkships look great on your resume, you don't want to take a chance in the tough job market that we have right now. And students definitely need an extra edge right now. And I believe that participating in moot courts while in law school gives you an opportunity, to learn skills and build your resume at the same time. I personally have seen that some private law firms and public sector jobs as well, such as prosecutor's office, public prosecutors, they do look for such experience to determine, what candidates are out of the line. And then participating in moot will also that you have the commitment and desire to litigation work.
Yeah, okay. So the take back that I have from this webinar is this: yes, I would say it is a skill to be owned by the law students, and it is a very important skill. It gives us it just by participation, we learn a lot. Oratorship qualities improve. We know how to be in a decorum and disciplined manner, because I believe law profession is a lot about discipline as well, because there are a lot of do's and don'ts that we need to practice before the judges and the lordships in the court. And then we also learn time management, because we are given a specific time, I believe, in the moot court competitions. And actually organizing these events. So I am very glad that we had our esteemed alumni with us today in the panel, and hope this webinar was of interest and was useful for the participants today. So thank you so much, Madhur. Thank you so much, Suyash. And I would request all of you to be home, be safe, and keep on attending more and more webinars and seminars to enhance and boost your knowledge, because this is a time where we can take a lot of your help from technology, and that is what we are here with today. Thank you so much. Thank you, Madhur. Thank you, Suyash. It was great having
Thank you.
you. Okay.
Pleasure being with you. Take care.
Pleasure.